Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whichever time you guys are checking us out, and welcome back to another episode of Excess Gaming Podcasts. This is episode 152. I'm your host, Xander Skullion, and join with me, as always, is my crimson-bearded co-hostess with the mostest, Mr. James Gruesome. What's up, James?
Hey, greetings and salutations, everyone. It has been a little bit.
It's been some time. It's been a little bit of time.
Maybe a month or two. We're trying to get on track, but as we say, life gets in the way, and everything is still so crazy, and the craziness just continues. As me and Xander are here in North Carolina, and we're experiencing. I'm sure down your way it's just as bad with the gas and stuff.
Oh,
I'd imagine.
Yeah.
It's so funny because it just kind of hit. Because this last Monday, I got an oil change at the dealership right next door to my work, and I went over and I just filled up afterwards. Because I'm lazy. It's sometimes I don't fill up the whole tank, or sometimes my debit card's not working, so it's I got to pull out a credit card. I'm like, I don't want to put $20 on this credit card. I was I'm just putting $5 on there. So anyway, it took my debit card this time, and I filled up luckily on Monday. Because by Tuesday, only premium was available, and then the next day everything was gone, and it's been just bad. Like I said, my car gets 35 miles a gallon, so I still got half a tank, and I mean I drive 40 miles a day, to and from work, so my car has been good, but my vehicle at work, that one I was running down to E. It is on E. I don't even know if I will be able to, unless they have gas, right next door to work. I don't know. I'm thinking, because I think gas has been a little bit more available out, where I live.
It's
I'm not
better.
in the city. Well, I'm not in the city, so out in Harnett County instead of Fayetteville, I think it's been a little better. So I've been thinking of maybe taking a gas can just to take with me, to work if I can find just to. Dude, I almost asked a customer.
Don't use a grocery bag, please.
No. I almost asked a couple customers on my route that I know pretty good, that if maybe they had, because they seem like people that would be prepared and get some stuff. I almost asked a couple of them if they had, maybe a gallon, I can throw in just so I can get back to the office. Luckily, I made it back, dude. I was sweating, and it was stressing me out, man. I was getting back, and I can just imagine, But it's funny. It's there's so many people needing the gas. I mean, it's nobody's working apparently, but nobody has any money. But everybody's still fucking driving everywhere and buying all the damn gas. And other than that, I've been to the eye doctor recently. I had to get some new contacts. I got some new glasses, and they told me I might need some readers soon. Which is kind of funny. It's I wear contacts, and it's I'm still gonna need reading glasses if I go up. And then I've had some skin infection on my leg. It's just been that's that really sucked. I'm on antibiotics, and so that's it. That's life. Just doctor visits, and eye doctor, and no gas, and just work sucks. But hey, man, we try to find the bright side. I mean, there's a couple good things going on.
Yeah. The gas thing was insane. I know my mom went to go get gas, and she came over to the house, and then she left, and me and my girlfriend were at the apartment, and then it got to the point where my girlfriend was like, "Your mom's been gone for a while," and I'm like, "Yeah, she has," but I thought she was doing whatever she was doing, hanging out with her friends or something like that. And then my mom came back 4 hours later. My girlfriend had already left. And my mom was like, "I was at the gas station the whole time." I'm like, "What?" She's like, "I've been through hell and back." Apparently the gas station she chose to go to, she was in line at this gas station for 4 hours just to get gas. And the only thing they had left was premium. So it has been insane. It's gotten a little bit better. But, I mean, that's just the way it is, man. It's like how toilet paper was last year. It is with gas.
Yeah, that was the thing. If people hadn't just gone out and kind of panic bought, it would have been okay. And I hate waiting in line. That's the thing. If I go in the store and there's 3 people in line in front of me, and there's always some dumbass like buying lottery tickets. And they're
Oh,
like,
I
oh,
hate that.
I want a number 22. Like we don't have
God.
that one. And they're like, oh,
And they
can I
start
get a
scratching it. They start
oh,
scratching it at the counter, like while there's like a big line of people, and I'm just like sitting there and like I'm just wanting to get a soda or something or a snack. I'm just going to the gas station just to get a little something and go back home. And I'm sitting there standing in line because this guy thinks that maybe if he spends his $50 on a Friday because it's a full moon and his mother's birthday, he might win the lottery. It's like, come on, dude, give me a break.
yeah. I'm like, I'm lucky. I've not had the people scratching it in line, but they still just frustrate me. And I've even gotten to the point where I'm like, I don't know. I just might just start buying some, like, just for the hell of it, because I'm
They
just
should.
dumb.
What they should do.
I'm just blowing money lately. I'm just like, I'm just like buying the smile. So it's like, just like buy just like worthless crap. And I was like, oh, well, I mean, a lottery ticket is worthless crap, but it's like, I don't know. Like, what if I won some money off that? Yeah.
It could happen. It could happen. Well, I mean, other than that, the gaming world hasn't been as eventful as everything else in life. To be honest, like I was just telling James right before we record the show, I was like, we always open up the show talking about video game news, and really there hasn't been a whole lot of news that's been going on. I mean, it's gotten so bad that there's a couple of YouTubers I watch that cover gaming news, and a couple of websites I go to. And one of the YouTube videos was someone like reporting the PS4 has outsold the PlayStation 5 in the UK, and I'm like, no shit, it has. I'm like,
Shocking.
really? I know. I was like, well, maybe it's because no one can find the PlayStation 5. So, I mean, that's basic economics right there. There's nothing to buy, so they're not going to sell anything. I mean, here we are. It's been about almost 6 months, I want to say, since the PlayStation 5 and new Xbox dropped. And it's still like really hard to go out there and get one. As a matter of fact, I went to GameStop a couple of weeks ago to get Pokemon Snap on the Switch, and they had the sign right in front of the window. It was just like, we don't have PlayStation 5s, we do not have Series X's, and it's just like, and everyone was like in line, and they were like, oh, I follow this app on Twitter. Oh, I've been doing this and like trying to figure out how to get these new systems. And to be honest, I mean, there's still nothing that's really dropped on the new consoles that's made me go, oh my God, I have to go buy this new console right now. I mean, matter of fact, I thought Resident Evil Village, I thought that was going to be like a next gen or new gen exclusive, but then it released on the PlayStation 4, and I've been playing it on PlayStation 4, and I absolutely love it. I'm like, okay, well, I don't need a PlayStation 5.
Yeah, that's good. I thought it was kind of cool too how they did I'd missed they did a timed demo. This was before, like I said, we're recording a little bit later, but they had the time demo, which I thought was cool on PlayStation. Which I almost caught it, and I told a buddy of mine that's really into Resident Evil. I was like, yeah, I think it's only up for like an hour, until a certain time, and like I just honestly, I thought about doing it, but my PlayStation like wasn't hooked up because I have to, switch out between the Switch and the Roku, and I've only got like two plugs on the back, so something's always unplugged. And I was like, I'm just like, I don't feel like I'm plugging something in the back. I was just that lazy. I was like, yeah, I don't want to do that. I did finally play the demo on Xbox, and I didn't. I played a little bit. I went through a little bit of the. I actually went to the castle 1st, and then I went to the town. But I mean, I gotta say honestly, like I don't know, it just didn't. It didn't grab me, and like I didn't go to like buy it right away. Like it's something like I might wait on a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoy it from what I've played. I mean, I haven't played it in a while. I just got done with the castle, and I mean, there's people that's already beaten the game, obviously. But I mean,
Oh yeah.
like I really enjoyed Resident Evil 7 a lot, and I've always liked Resident Evil 4, and it definitely feels like the blend of those two games together. But I will say that the game it does start out very slow. It's a very slow moving game when you first start out, and but once you start getting the momentum, it starts getting really good. I've been really enjoying it for what I've played of it. I mean, I'm probably going to play some more after the show because I'm off today. I'm like debating, like, do I want to play Resident Evil Village or do I want to start binge watching season 4 of Castlevania on the Netflix? I mean,
Oh wow,
yeah, because that
that's
just
out
came
now.
out too, and I was like, oh my god, so much to do, but so little time. But
Yeah, I was like looking at a stack of movies, and like sometimes like I've worked so much. That's why even I mean everybody knows if you listen to the episodes, like the games I've been playing, it's always like either like oh here's a movie I watched, or either it's like one game I played just because like I've just not had the like drive or energy to commit. You know, because
mhm.
it's like if you get a game you start and it's like you want to play it, but I'm like, well, God, I might work 14 hours the next day and I can't play it, and I'm just like. I'm like, yeah, I'll just go back and catch up on stuff
Yeah,
one day. But I do like that whole idea, and I like that first person Resident Evil they did with 7 and 8. I like how they, had the different, series still. It's like there's always a Resident Evil for somebody. It may not be out for you like at this particular time, but it's like that one will be coming. Whether you like Revelations, whether you like the remakes, whether you like the first person. I really like how that whole world has expanded. It's
yeah,
just been a really just great series that's lasted and has really changed. I think,
it
and just
really
kind of
has.
kind of kept up with the times and kept people invested in it. And I mean, that's great.
Yeah, and I mean, you bring up a good point about sometimes you just have the drive to play a video game. It's so funny because I'll be like, yeah, I'm gonna get off work and start playing a video game, and then I end up just not playing. And it just sounds like sacrilegious the fact that we're on a gaming podcast and we're like, oh, sometimes I don't feel like playing games. But I think some of our older listeners and some of the listeners that are around our age completely understand when you're working, 40 hours plus a week, and sometimes it takes a lot for you to pick up a game that takes about 3 to 4 hours to actually start getting good. Um,
Also, too, if you're in a relationship or married or have a family, it's like,
yeah.
do I watch a movie and hang out with my wife with these, the spare time I have? I always
Hmm.
give a suggestion to people that, are married, and especially if you have kids and, your wife wants to spend time with you, you want to play a game. Hey, man, get a Switch. Okay, just,
Yeah.
I think lots of times for people just being in the room with the family, even if they're watching Frozen or some crap you don't want to watch, just sit in the room. You don't have to pay attention to it. You can sit there and still play your game, you know, which I think is cool. And I'll still rock the, Game Boy on the couch while my wife is maybe watching some TV show. I'm just either I came in too late or I just don't care. And I'm, just sitting there. I grab like 3 random Game Boy games and I just, sit there on the couch and just play it like I'm, 11 years old. It's great.
And it was something I definitely wanted us to talk about as well, James, is since our last episode, you canceled your pre-order for the Poly Omega.
I did.
Mm.
I did. And I don't know what it was that exactly triggered it. Now, I did, pre-order the Analog Pocket, which that's Analog is a defined company. They've been out. They put out product. They're proven,
Hmm.
and they were upfront and they were like, hey, look, it's hard to get the parts. They were supposed to be in April, either April or May, and it got pushed back. I think it's like September or October now is the date they've given, and they haven't given any more updates on I can't remember the exact name, but the analog turbo graphics.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
they you can get on a list for it, but they haven't given any updates. They're not taking any pre-orders because obviously they can't make it right now. And the Polymega was just irritating. I was on like some different Reddit boards looking at people because just something got to me because I started honestly thinking about getting a laptop
Hmm.
because I was like, really, I could do almost everything on the Polymega on a laptop. I could use it for other
Yeah,
functions.
because the thing about it, the Poly Omega, and for those that are listening that don't know what the Poly Omega was or is, it is pretty much an emulator with removable modules. Okay, so it's like a box, and you can remove certain parts to play, like say Sega Saturn, play TurboGrafx, play Super Nintendo. You buy the Poly Omega and you buy the modules separate. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure.
it's the disc-based system, so you can play
Yeah.
all the disc if you buy the base model. But any of the cartridges, almost all of them, are available. They all are separate add-ons, which are about, 50 or $60 a piece. System itself was about uh, it was about 400. Walmart had taken the pre-orders, which was where I did mine, and that's actually, honestly, that's what happened. I heard about Walmart canceling. Something happened with the pre-orders. The Polymega said, "Hey, just come directly to us. Cancel the Walmart." Which actually, Walmart canceled mine on their own, which I thought was really cool. So I was like, "Okay, that's something I don't have to worry about and do."
It's like the
So I
world
went
giving you a
ahead.
sign. It's like, get a laptop,
But
James.
and it was cheaper. The price went up, and Polymega even offered like $50 off. So you had the same Walmart price, but then there was just still no updates. And people, especially even like my brother EJ, I mean, I think he pre-ordered this thing a couple of years ago, and he's still, got nothing. But yet,
Mm-hmm.
there's people that have it. I don't know,
Yeah.
people with high YouTube views. A lot of them somehow they got a hold of it. They
Yeah.
sent them one, but and they probably didn't fucking pay for it. And I mean, I understand how that stuff works, but your people that invested in this, it didn't. So what it was I sent them an email and I was like, look, I said, due to the just lack of updates, really, lack of faith in this product, I think I'd really like to get a refund. I
Mm-hmm.
almost kind of wanted to apologize because I mean, I think it's a cool idea. And honestly, I mean, I got a text almost the next day that
Yeah.
was like, you'll be refunded. And then a couple days later, I had the money back, like in my account. So
Yeah, I mean, it's just unfortunate. And, when it was initially announced, I thought it was a really cool concept when it was initially announced, because when it was first announced, it was like, hey, this is going to be using FPGA. It's not going to be emulation. Like, they're going to be, like, it's going to be, aftermarket parts that are, like, real Sega Saturn, like, remade
yeah,
parts and stuff like that. And I was like, this is cool. This is awesome. And then when they changed it to emulation, I was just kind of like, oh, that, okay. Because I mean, the thing is like, yes, if you have a decent laptop, and I'll let you know right now, like, my laptop is good. It's not an amazing laptop. I can play quite a bit of games on it. I can emulate PlayStation 2. Saturn can be kind of a hiccup sometimes,
yeah, I've
but
heard Saturn's still kind of, that was the main draw, I think, with the
yeah,
Polymega was the Saturn stuff, because apparently they nailed it. But my thinking too is if they nailed how to do it, somebody else will too.
yeah.
It'll come
Saturn
soon.
Saturn emulation has came such a long way. Like, and it is constantly evolving. That's the thing. I mean, it's getting better and better. There's different emulators that are coming out, and it's getting a lot easier to be able to play these games. And I mean, I don't know, when it gets down to the nitty gritty and it's like it was emulation. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to spend money on that. I mean, that's just
Yeah, but I was thinking, as like I said, I was like, I got the $400 back. In between, tax refunds, stimuluses. I was like, my last laptop, which I haven't used to use for the podcast. We got in 2008 as a wedding gift, and it locked up, and it's just, I'm sure something from 2008 is probably just useless now anyway. So I was like, you know what? I was like, that would be something, yeah, I think just more functional. Like I said, I could use it for, like I said, emulation. I'd really like to try out Steam, good
yeah,
old games. I could use it for the
yeah.
podcast and stuff again,
There's so
and
much.
it
I
would be
mean,
better. It's just,
so
I think for
much.
me, it's a practical buy that I'll spend more on. Like I've got like a limit, I think, of like what I wanna, or what I will spend. And I've been talking to different friends and asking opinions and stuff on different ones. And I got a buddy of mine in town too, that's really gonna help me with it and help me, like hook it up when I finally get it. But to me, I think that's just a better, uh, yeah, it's just a better investment for me. And I mean, I have been buying the Japanese, wrestling games to
Hmm.
play on on the Polymega, which I can't do now, but I'll have a solution for that sometime. I'll probably bring that up maybe in the games we have been playing or will be
Yeah,
playing later on.
yeah. Well, and also, I mean, getting to some of the gaming news. Uh, the one thing I felt like that was definitely worth mentioning is E3. E3 is coming up. E3 is going to be on June 12th through June 15th. And, I mean, there, of course, there's been a lot of people talking about E3, predictions, of course, quote-unquote leaks, a lot of Nintendo stuff. Like, of course, you can't have Nintendo news without someone be like, Switch Pro, new Switch, blah, blah, blah. I mean, at this point, if a new Switch comes out, that's great. If not, that's great, too. I think it's been a beaten dead horse for the last, 3.5 years now. But, I mean, they've been talking about things like, maybe getting an update on Halo Infinite, which I think a lot of Xbox fans would really love that, as well as Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. A lot of people have been really interested in that. A new Sonic game to celebrate the 30th anniversary of Sonic the Hedgehog. Also, of course, Zelda news to celebrate the 35th anniversary of Zelda. I mean, we got Skyward Sword coming out next month, but a lot of people have been wondering if we're going to get like a HD remaster of like Twilight Princess and Wind Waker bundles and of course like Pokemon news. And also, I mean, there's been a rumor of a new Mario Kart coming out as well.
Oh, now see that I think really would be, because people have probably played, the old Mario Kart, to death. I'm sure people are still playing. It's still fun. It's one of the few games I actually play with my wife, and she kind of digs it. And I mean, I think that would be, just like a killer game for them to have at
especially
this point.
Especially if it came out the holiday season. Like, that would be, if that was like the holiday game for Nintendo for 2021, it's going to sell. It's going to sell like crazy.
And just to see, I mean, they could even do, bundle switches with that and sell even more, because it's not like they're having problems selling the system. But I mean, look, as far as E3, I think, I'm just looking forward, to seeing, especially for the new systems, because as you said earlier, there's not really that game that grabs us. It's like you get this system just because it's new. I'm gonna get it. There's not really anything that's like I have to play that. So I always look forward to seeing what is coming. Like, is there gonna be some game that's gonna be like, oh man, I can't wait to get that system when I can actually finally find it now, to get this game. That'll be great.
I mean, one of the things that kind of initially worried me about the new consoles, and of course, I don't have to worry now, but I was scared that RGG Studios, the folks behind the Yakuza series, I was like, are they gonna release a new RGG Studios, rather it's like Yakuza 8 or New Judgment, are they going to release these on the new consoles? Well, yes and no. The reason why I say that is because there's actually going to be a sequel for Judgment coming out in September, and it's going to be on PS4 and Xbox One as well. So I'm like, okay, well, I don't have to worry about that. I'll just get it on PS4,
It's just very cool to see it, on those systems. It's cool to see a sequel to that. It's just, it's cool that series still going. They're still showing love. And I'd always say, too, I think I would be accepting of, say, if a game comes out on the new system, on physical, and of course for download, but then maybe if it comes out on the older system, if it's digital only, that's something I wouldn't have a problem with, just to still be able to get the game. Because, I think with the shortage of systems, companies are really trying to look out for the people just to make sure they can actually play these games. Because if you don't have the system, obviously you can't play that game. So why have this huge game come out when people can't get it?
Yeah, it's kind of for people like myself and maybe you too, James. Folks like that want to get the new systems but don't want to drop the money on it yet. It's kind of good in some ways that these systems are getting kind of hard to find in one way, because these companies still have to keep supporting the current gen to make profit. I mean, if you put out a brand new game and it's like us on PlayStation 5 and no one can get a PlayStation 5, guess what? You're not going to sell any games. So they still have to support the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, which for people like myself, I'm still kind of happy with. because I'm not
And
completely left in the dark yet.
it is just kind of weird, after so long that there is
Yeah.
still a shortage because like there hasn't really been a system I bought at launch in a long time. So I don't know. Usually I bought a system like a year later, so I don't know how long like shortages lasted in the past. But it's just like this one just seems particularly long. And I guess too, it might have to do, same thing with Polymega and such. Is like the parts, the
Yeah.
processing, the getting them here, the giant, riverboats stuck in the Amazon hauling the stuff around.
Yeah, I mean this has been by far one of the weakest launch generations that I can remember. And it's kind of unfortunate, and there's a lot of events why. I mean, you mentioned a good point there. So, in the next couple months, maybe the holiday season, it might be a little easier for folks to go out there and buy one. So we'll see with that. Now, getting into some other news, let me go over here real quick. Something I wanted to talk about on the show because in between this episode and the last episode, there was a rumor that PlayStation was going to cut the stores off to PlayStation 3, PlayStation Vita. Of course, now they're keeping it alive, but it freaked out a lot of people with the PS3, and even now, the PS3 has become really expensive in the last couple of months to buy games for. 3D Dot Heroes. Okay, a game that I bought that I have in my collection. I bought for like $7 at GameStop.
It was $40 when it first came out. I remember because I bought it. I actually on launch. I think I had it reserved or so, right? Because that was a game only. And one thing, like I say, as you said, it was a bit cheaper, but like I'm not surprised that one became maybe a little bit more rare or expensive because it was one of those games that I remember when it launched, like stores didn't get a whole lot of copies. But yeah, like
Yeah,
I said,
that
when it came out, it
game.
was 40 or maybe it might have been 50. It was 40 or 50, but it was less than the $60 price tag when it came out.
Yeah, and I bought it. I bought it used for like $7-10 a couple of years
Yeah.
back, and now that game is freaking expensive. Like people are going crazy about PlayStation 3 right now. It's really interesting. I think it's just because of the timing. Because you think about PlayStation 3. PlayStation 3 came out 2005, 2006. I want to say. That's been like
Sounds right.
that's been like what 15 years. So I mean, you think about
And
it. People in their 20s. That's their PlayStation. That's what they grew up with.
I mean, what a huge time too. I mean, honestly, when
Yeah,
you think about it, like with them and the 360, I mean, that was that kind of really to me seems like one of the big kind of gaming booms because I mean, you did have I think PlayStation usually has more exclusives. At least back then at that time, Microsoft I know is buying up companies, but you had those exclusives, but you had a lot of games on the same system to where you could be good with either one. Your
yeah.
more hardcore gamer might go with the PS3, and maybe the casual might go with the 360. But you had that choice. But I mean, there was just so much out there. I want to ask you one thing. Like when you heard about the shutdown thing, what did you think? I mean, we both believe in game preservation and keeping those games out there. But I mean, did you really care when
No,
they mentioned that? Or
I honestly, and I'll tell you the reason why I didn't care. Because they could shut they could shut down PSN tomorrow. They could. And the thing is, they could shut it down tomorrow, and everyone could be freaking out, being like, "Oh man, I can never play these games ever again." You can. PlayStation 3. I don't know about the Super Slim or the Slim models, but I know the original. I believe the Slim. I think it's only the Super Slim that's kind of hard. But these consoles are easy to jailbreak now. They're easy to soft mod. The ISOs are online. They're on the internet. These games, you can play them because people rip these ISOs and put them online. And to me, that is the true gaming preservation more than the PSN staying open. So I remember when everyone was freaking out about PSN and everyone was like, well, this is why I don't buy digital games. I'm like, okay, that's cool. The eShop's been down for a couple years now. The Wii Shop, I should say. Wii Shop's been down for a couple years, and you can go online and download Castlevania Adventure Rebirth and be perfectly fine if you have a modded
Actually,
Wii or Wii U.
well, speaking of that, my buddy had those on his laptop, and he'd actually asked me to order him uh, the. It was a sensor bar because even on
Hmm.
his laptop he had the game, but for some reason you still needed. I don't know if it was something he was doing wrong, but he still needed a sensor bar to
Yeah,
start those games
yeah.
on his laptop.
This is what's really cool, and you might want to look into this, James, because getting the sensor bar for your laptop, it allows you to play Wii emulation through the Dolphin emulator, but you can also use that Wii sensor bar to play arcade light gun games.
Whoa.
So, I mean, because I've been thinking about myself getting it's like a USB, I think it's a USB adapter, or they even have some that are just USB sensor bars that you can get, and you can use those sensor bars to play light gun games and play Wii U. And I'm like, oh man, like I have like on my Pi, I have a whole section of light gun games I can't play because I don't have a sensor bar. But if I went and got a sensor bar, I could play these games.
Yeah, and then it's like, I mean, you think, because me, I'm always kind of like, oh, so I don't know. I'm like, laptops, like, just got to play on the laptop. It's like, yeah, you can hook those up to your TVs, and that's pretty
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, yeah. Most of the time, when I'm not working, if I'm playing on my laptop, like playing games, I mostly just hook my laptop through HDMI to my TV and just play it that way. Wireless controller, and it's just as good as anything else.
Now, do they have a type of peripheral for the, like a gun? I mean, did they make
Hmm.
kind of like Wiimote things at least or something like that you can
Yeah,
use?
yeah. I mean, and the thing is like, I mean, I believe there's certain drivers you can download where you can use the Wiimote because I think the Wiimote might be Bluetooth. I might be wrong. Someone's going to correct me in the YouTube comments on that. I know, but they do have light guns that you can get for your PC to play light gun games.
Oh, okay, because I know. Well, this is kind of to me kind of shady, but the Polymega page, they're taking pre-orders for I can't think of the name of what this one in particular is called, but you're supposed to be able to use it with the Polymega and I think some other systems, and it's like they're already taking pre-orders. It's like, dude, you're taking pre-orders for another product when you've been taking pre-orders for one for the past couple years, and this one's like 100. It's like they're $100 a piece, or it's like two for 150. And it's like that's just something like I wouldn't. It's like I'm fine. Like I got used to using just the Wiimote because even those, like I got little gun peripherals. I don't mind using those or even just pointing at the screen. I just can't use a controller for light gun games. That just kind of kills it for me. Like I just got to have something that's kind of triggery and gunnish, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking up online right now and seeing it's doable. It's not something that people can't do. I mean, you can play light gun games on PC. I'm seeing some right now that you can order online that look like the gun cons, which is really cool.
Nice.
So I mean, that's the thing, man. I mean, so when I heard that the PlayStation, PS3, and Vita stores were closing down and everyone's freaking out, I'm like, nah, dude, it's okay. As long as we got and I hate to be that person that says piracy is okay. Piracy is a gray area. But when it comes to stuff like this, when the company is no longer supporting it, and in my opinion, it becomes abandonware, that's how we keep up with history, because they don't care anymore.
No, no, it's one of the only ways. So it's really great to have that option. It's like everything you want to play, like you can get to, like you can look up tutorials, you can ask a friend. You don't have to buy a $400 system to play these. You can buy something you can use for many other things for not a whole lot more.
And I think a lot of it too, when it comes to like emulation, I've said this so many times, when it comes to emulation or modding systems, I think a lot of it comes down to people's like some people they get very intimidated with the concept of it, and they get very much where they just like, well, I'd rather just go ahead and buy this than do this, because I mean, like, it's funny because you think about it. Take the GameCube, okay, the GameCube with the Dolphin emulator, is fully compatible. You can play any GameCube game you want with the Dolphin emulator. You won't have any issues, and it's not that hard to do. But if they came out with say a GameCube Mini, they came out with a GameCube Mini that had like 28 games that was selling for 200 bucks or $150. People will buy that. They're like, I'm going to go ahead and get this, and then they'll turn around, and they'll figure out how to hack it.
Yeah,
they'll figure out how to hack it, and I was like, okay, and I'm just talking like this hypothetically from all the other mini consoles I see. Like, people get the mini console and they figure out how to hack it, and it's just like, these are the same people that I'm like, yeah, you can just play that all on your PC, and they're like, I don't know about all that. I'm not good with the computers.
They're great for the hackers. They're great for the casual market. Those little systems just grab everybody, and I get, and like, we're excluding like the people that collect, like, we, like I said, we're ex collectors, like,
Mm-hmm.
like I still collect for Game Boy, but like I understand, people that are like, if you don't want to do that because you collect physical, then I mean, hey, I get it, I'm not gonna knock you. Because
Oh
like I had
yeah.
this whole box of copied movies. This dude that works next to my wife like gave us these boxes and boxes of these like copied movies, and it's just like,
There's yeah,
God, like
there's
I'm like, I don't even like, because I kind of get it, because I'm like, this isn't even fun. Like, I don't even want to dig through these and find a movie to watch. Like, I'd rather look at my own shelf and pull off something maybe I missed that like I can see the cover of. Because I've kind of gotten back into collecting movies a little bit more
mm-hmm.
again. So it's like, I totally understand the collector
I
mentality,
do too. I mean, there's still times that I like to buy physical games. Great example, Pokemon Snap. Like, I could have just went and bought that on the eShop and start playing it, but I'm like, no, I want to go to GameStop and get a physical. Resident Evil Village, I ended up buying that at Walmart. I was like, I want to get Resident Evil Village, like a physical copy. I mean, there's still like those certain games and certain things. As a matter of fact, I had to restrain myself from getting the limited run Castlevania collection physical.
Mm.
That just came out for pre-orders, and I don't know. Next Friday when I get paid, if it's still up, I might order it. But I was like, well, why am I going to order this? Because it's got everything. I already have it on the Switch, and I have a Pi. Like, why am I going to order a physical of it? But I wanted a physical because I still like having physical games to some
In
degree.
certain series, you want to get like the only reason, like with my Xbox, that I get digital games is because I have the game share. If I didn't have the game share, I would still be buying the physical discs on my PS4, if that was what I had, or the Xbox. Like, I probably still would. Once in a while, yeah, I'm lazy and I'm just like, I'm gonna download this the night before because I'm off the next day. But other than that, like, I still would get, I believe in physical media and I would get this. But I do the digital for the game share because it's like a 2-for-1 and we both get it. So,
And it's kind of a weird double edged sword with today's physical media. And the reason I say that is because with the retro stuff, like, I totally get it. People who retro collect, who want to have like that shelf of games, who like to still hook up their CRT to play Sega Genesis, is that whole nostalgia. But even when I bought Resident Evil Village because I wanted to have a physical copy of it, I put the disc in, and you would think theoretically I got the disc, I don't have to install it. I put the disc in, I had to play. No, I put the disc in, it still had a 10 gig download. Like, I still had to be like, leave it alone for a little while, go do whatever I'm doing. And I'm like, it kind of defeats the purpose of having a physical copy. When you get a physical and you still have to install it. I mean,
you plan on coming home and playing that game. Like, that's what you want to do. And it still is
yeah.
such a bummer. Like, we forget that this install still happens. I mean, it's been going on
Mm-hmm.
for a while. And it's like, you like me, like, I forget about it. And I come home and I'm like, oh, yeah, like, this game. And it's like, shit. I will say, at least, like, I'd gotten, like, the better internet. So it's not
Yeah.
near as bad as when I had the CenturyLink, and it was just like, oh god, like, stuff would take just, you could even play it to the next day pretty much, and whereas now it's like,
I
man,
remember
it's quick.
I remember when I first got my PlayStation 4, I didn't have fast internet. And I remember I bought the PlayStation 4 and I was installing Final Fantasy 14. And I remember installing, like, going to install it at like 6 p.m. and then waking up the next day at like 9:30 and it was almost done.
Yeah.
9:30 in the morning. I was just like, this is ridiculous. So I called up Spectrum. I'm like, hey, I need to update my internet. My internet's too slow for this. I mean, it's ridiculous. It is so
They don't
crazy.
update very much because I remember when I was switching over and I was canceling, and they were like, "Is there any way we can keep you?" And I said, "Well, honestly, I said you guys have always been great. Sometimes they would just call and give me like $5 off, and like I've talked to the dudes that call for like 30 minutes. Like we'll just start talking about crap because they're bored and they find somebody cool that's not being a jerk off to them, and we just end up like talking for a while." But I told the lady, I said, "Well, yeah, you guys got this," and I was like, "They're got this speed." And she's like, "Yeah, we don't have anywhere near that." And she's like, "So I understand." And then it was done,
Yeah,
you know.
you got to have fast internet, man. The way the world is now with streaming and everyone's staying home a lot more too. I could only imagine if you didn't have the best internet, this time last year when we were going through quarantine, how much. If you lived in an apartment complex, I can only imagine how many times that people bottlenecked data and bandwidth. You
It's
know,
like you're not watching Tiger King today, kid. You know,
man, oh fuck, Tiger King.
remember that guy?
Oh yeah, when I think about
He was
Tiger.
the hero I needed. We all needed at that time, and now it's just like, yeah,
Yeah, it feels like
everybody.
it happened 5 years ago, man. Tiger King was like 5 years ago, but it was only like a year. So weird. Such a weird concept.
Maybe he was the pandemic. I don't know. Maybe he caused it. I don't know if he was the effect. I don't know what was going on with that, but it was very intriguing. And of course, he didn't get pardoned, and he's still in jail. And I mean, I don't think he's a good person. He's fascinating, yes, but I think he's done some rotten things. So
Oh
he
yeah,
probably deserves to be in jail.
indeed, indeed. And I mean, let me see. Let me see what else we've been going through here with some video games.
Oh,
Uh,
the new well, actually, well, video game related. Did you watch the new Mortal Kombat movie?
I did. I'm planning on doing a full review with Anthony on Blast Podcasting. We're going to talk about it.
Nice.
Anthony, he had gotten sick, so we hadn't been able to record. By the time we do record, we're probably going to do a dual episode of talking about the Mortal Kombat movie and talking about Castlevania season 4 at that point if he watches it. But I'll say this about Mortal Kombat because I'm not going to get like too far into it. It was a 7 out of 10.
Hmm.
Yeah, it
I
wasn't.
still, I still hadn't finished it, and because it was like we got partway through it, fell asleep, started back up, fell asleep, and like, I'm not blaming the movie because like I was
Yeah,
digging it, but my wife though, I don't know. She was like, I don't know. She's like, if you put on Mortal Kombat again, she's like, I'm just gonna fall asleep. I don't know what it is.
well,
Um,
it's it's an interesting movie, and it really makes you think of like the whole subjective thing about the lore, because that was the thing. Because this movie takes a lot of liberties from the original Mortal Kombat lore, and they do a lot of things that's kind of questionable. I'm just like, I don't know about that. I mean, it wasn't a bad movie. Like I watched the first time because I watched it twice. I watched it once by myself, and then I watched it again with my girlfriend, who ironically also fell asleep watching it. She fell asleep, and then she ended up watching it, the rest of it by herself. She like texted me. She's like, "So I finished Mortal Kombat." I'm like, "What'd you think?" She was like, "Oh, it's all right." And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, it was all right." I mean, it was not mind blowing. I know some people said it was like the most terrible movie. Like some people even try to say I liked Armageddon better. I'm like, get the fuck out of
no,
here.
no,
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 you didn't. You didn't like Armageddon's still a bad
you might
movie.
have liked the first one better. You might have liked
Yeah,
Mortal Kombat Legacies better, but no, you didn't like Mortal Kombat. And I'm
I.
still a huge fan of the original one, just because.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, especially with some of the actors, especially the guy, and I'll give props. I mean, Keith Cook. There's a
Mm-hmm.
great podcast called Art of Action. If you like '90s martial arts movies, Scott Atkinson, who's kind of like a modern day '90s martial arts actor. He interviews a lot of the people from the '90s. He had Keith Cook on there recently, who played
Mm-hmm.
Reptile in the first one. He was Sub Zero in the second one, and he's been in some other China O'Brien, King of the Kickboxers. It's really fucking cool. If you actually like the kickboxer movie, this one might even be a little better. But he was interviewing him, and it was just it was a really cool interview. And I thought it was so awesome that he was in it because he said he tried out for Liu Kang,
Mm-hmm.
um, but didn't get the part, and ended up being Reptile, and then it's like the same dude ends up being, man, it's like how awesome to be Reptile and Sub-Zero.
Speaking of dual actors for Mortal Kombat, another thing that I would say to definitely check out if you've never watched it, because it's on HBO Max, and for some it came out of nowhere. Like people are like, when did this pop up? Mortal Kombat Conquest is on HBO Max. The live action Mortal Kombat television series
The TV show
that was right after WCW Nitro.
Dude, yes. Yeah, dude, we watch that all the time.
Yeah, that's actually a really good television show, and the reason I say the dual actors is because the guy who played Raiden also played Shao Kahn.
Oh wow!
And it was funny because I was watching a video about Mortal Kombat Conquest, and the guy who played Raiden. It was funny because he originally was wanting to be Raiden, so he was.
Wait, was that original Raiden in the first movie, Christopher Lambert?
No. This is a different guy. I forget his name, but yeah, he was in just Mortal Kombat Conquest. He played Raiden and Shao Kahn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but when he was trying out for Raiden, he was trying out for Raiden. He was doing all that, and then they were like, "Hey, can you read this part on this character here, Shao Kahn?" And he was actually like kind of pissed off a little bit because he thought that he was going to lose his role as Raiden and become Shao Kahn. So when he was doing his rehearsal and everything for Shao Kahn, he was actually very pissed off when he was doing this part for Shao Kahn. They're like, "This is perfect. Do you mind being Shao Kahn and Raiden?" He's like, "Okay." But
Wow.
but he does a great Shao Kahn. He does a good Raiden too. I mean, Mortal Kombat Conquest definitely has that whole like B movie kind of Baywatch vibe, if that makes any sense, for that 90s television feel.
Renegade, it's
Yeah.
gonna be Walker Texas Ranger. It's gonna
Yeah, it's got that moment to it, but it's actually not bad. It is really not that bad, and it sucks that it ended the way it ended. It ended in such a cliffhanger, and I will say if you folks have HBO Max and you're still like wanting to get some Mortal Kombat buzz, check out Mortal Kombat Conquest.
and I think more than anything with the newest movie, I miss Kerry Tagawa as Shang Tsung. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He is eternal. Like he's still alive. I'm
Yeah.
like 99% sure he's still alive. Like,
Oh yeah, he's in Mortal Kombat 11.
I would have got yeah, see? I just, man,
Yeah.
I can't, like, it's hard to like seeing a different dude who's like, I didn't think it was horrible, but God, he is Shang. Like when you want to talk about him to somebody, you'd be like, the dude Shang Tsung. And people are like, oh yeah.
Yeah, he's he repressed his role in Mortal Kombat 11, and then they came out with the DLC for Mortal Kombat 11 that had Christopher Lambert as Raiden, and had the chick who played Sonya and Johnny Cage, and I believe Liu Kang as well. Like they all came back and repressed their roles and did a whole new voice acting for these new like movie skins that are based off the original Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, there's a really cool documentary, something about red shirts. That's about the stunt crew and the guy that played Liu Kang in the first movie, and also Keith Cook, who was Reptile. They're both part, this troupe, and they do a lot of stunt work for a lot of movies, and they have like a whole little just documentary on their whole team. I mean, they've done a lot of stuff, and they, like I said, I give them both. I mean, they had some really good people in that first movie. I still would have liked Cynthia Rothrock as Sonya. I still would have gone with that personally, but other than that, I mean, come on, first one is still a classic.
Yeah, the first one is just one of the best video game based movies ever made. Like it's really, really good. And the new
soundtrack,
everything. Oh
everything.
yeah. I mean, and the new movie isn't terrible, but it was one of those like I can go back and watch the original Mortal Kombat. Like if I was to get off this podcast and be like, hey, I want to watch a movie, and I turn on TV and they were playing their first Mortal Kombat movie, I'd watch it. This new Mortal Kombat though, I felt like seeing it the second time was like one time too many. And maybe like a year, maybe a year and a half from now, I might go back and watch it. But oh yeah, that was a really good movie. But like, it's not as classic as the original, and that's not just nostalgia talking. That's just I think the first one was a better movie.
It's
But
fun.
yeah.
It's just a real fun movie. Now, granted, we got some very cool violence and fatalities that we've
Oh
always
yeah.
wanted in this
The
new one.
the only thing I don't like about the new one, and I was like telling my girlfriend about this, is it's violent, but I fucking hate that they use CG blood.
You know,
So,
it's
you
not.
know, it's not the same. I don't like CG blood. Like CG gore, it kind of makes it feel very artificial. Like, dude, use some freaking red dye and corn syrup, please.
Excuse
You.
me. Y'all
Yeah,
might hear me
exactly.
belching. I'm just feeling a little. I got a little stomach. I'm drinking some Diet Coke here, so I'm trying to hold it in. But I was like, oh, I'm like either gonna belch or puke. It's gonna be fun either way. Right? But yeah. See, we were watching a movie that had blood, and it's like I told my wife, I was like, it's blood that goes up but doesn't come down. Um, and we were watching. It's some. I don't remember what the movie was, but it had a budget, and I was like, make it look a little better. I mean, I don't want to see it just spray out, and it's like it just goes away. I mean, like I
Yeah.
get it. CGI is the way to go. I'm a practical fan, but just at least if you use it to spray out and you do CGI, can you have some real shit fall on the floor? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not asking for much. I know it's a mess, but I mean,
Yes, I mean that was my only thing. I mean, the graphics and CG was really good in the new Mortal Kombat movie. Like it was good, but there was certain parts where the blood was just like very over dramatic, that was Mortal Kombat. Seeing blood go everywhere, and I was like, that's Mortal Kombat, but it felt too much like the video game.
man,
It's like I didn't. It kind of took me out of it a little bit, but that's something that I didn't really care for. It was like, man, it's CG blood. I'm like, it takes it out, man. You got to use some of that practical CG or practical blood as well, like.
give us some splat. That's all.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, yeah, I mean, definitely, folks that are listening, I am going to dive a little bit more into Mortal Kombat on that podcast for sure. But I mean, it is what it is. The Mortal Kombat movie. It was. I'm glad I got to see it on HBO Max. I would have. I think I
I
would
heard some
have.
people say they had a better experience actually in the theater. I know a few
I could
people that
see
saw it
that.
there.
I could see that. I mean, like movies at the theater, especially a movie like that where you're around a bunch of people getting pumped. Like, because I can imagine the joy of everyone hearing Scorpion say, "Get over here," like stuff like that. Like, I think the first time because I saw it twice, Rise of Skywalker, the last Star Wars movie. I think I enjoyed it a lot more the first time I saw it because I saw it in theaters and I was around a bunch of people who really enjoyed it. And yeah, I was kind of feeding off their enthusiasm because when I watched it the second time, I was like, I don't like this movie as much as I thought I did.
Yeah,
You know?
that does happen with second viewing sometimes, where you're just like you're like, man, like this is fucking great. You watch it again, it's like, not bad.
That's why when I do like a movie review, I try to watch the movie twice. Because if I watch it the first time, I'm kind of still in that like honeymoon stage
Yeah,
where I'm like, oh, this movie was great. I'll talk about it, and then later on I'll go back. I'm like, man, that kind of happened with me with Aquaman. I saw Aquaman first, I really loved it, and then I saw it the second time and I fell asleep.
sorry, Momoa, I'm
Yeah.
tired.
But yeah, let's talk about some games we've been playing. What have you been playing, James?
I still been playing some Retromania. I'm still digging that.
It's good
Don't.
stuff.
I don't even know if it's out on the PS4 yet. I know they were having some issues with that. It is out on Switch and Xbox, and I sent it out codes to a lot of friends just because I
Mm-hmm.
was in a giving mood, and I was just having a blast with it. I mean, if you're a fan of the old WrestleFest, I think I mentioned in the last episode, it's really fun. I played it with a friend. It was his first time playing it, and we did a Royal Rumble. We were both the Road Warriors, and the very end, man, it was so cool. Like it came down to us, and he ended up press slamming me out of the ring, and I was like, "Mother!" I'm like, "Damn!" I was like, "I've been, playing this game for a bit now, and you're sitting there and you just chunk me out." But I mean, he had a great time with it. I've been still having a great time. It's just a very fun arcadey wrestling game, and they're supposed to have some DLC coming soon with some more people, and I think they're planning on having like some tag team titles
Mm.
added to it. Like they have a story mode on there, which kind of ends kind of suddenly. So I think they might do a second part to it. But it's a small team. Took them a while to get it out, and they had some problems, but they really tried to keep people updated, which I always appreciate. So like that one's awesome. And then with the emulation, we were digging through my friend's stuff, and we're looking at it comes out, what do you want to play? I'm like, shit, I don't know. You don't know. You got so much stuff like right in front of you. So we end up looking at the Saturn, and we see
Mm-hmm.
the Ring, and I have that. I have that on disc. I was like, I don't know if I've ever played it. I was like, I might have played it once. I'm like, shit, let's try it out. We expected to play this, and I talked about it on the XS page. I was like, we expected to play it for a couple of minutes, but
Mm-hmm.
dude, it grabbed us. And I mean, it's old
Oh
Resident
wow.
Evil ripoff, tank controls. It's kind of, talking earlier with Resident Evil, it's being a little slow starting. I mean, this one really is, but it's like it's almost so slow starting where wanting to see like what's gonna happen. Like I'm finally starting to kill things after playing a couple hours, and it's kind of like, and here's the funny thing too is the game actually came out a couple years before we got the remake of the Japanese Ring.
Oh
So it's
wow.
almost like why did this even come out? Like this is weird. And also that game is like damn over $100 now.
Holy crap.
Yeah, I was really surprised looking at some older Dreamcast games that I have. Typing of the Dead, that one's gone up a whole lot. I mean, there's quite a few, but you get a possessed kind of like computer, and you're kind of jumping back and forth between the video game world and the real world. And the real world is this boring office where like this one dude's always like, "Why are you in this room?" Like that's like every room you go in, I get tired of seeing this giant black dude. And he's like, "What are you doing in here?" I'm like, why are you in the men's locker room?" Like, it's he pops. I hate him, man. He pops up everywhere, and he's just always blocking me from walking around. So like the office is very weird, but I thought it was funny because like I was shooting the enemies at first, and it was taking 4 to 6 bullets depending on my aim, and we're getting ready to cut it off, and I was like, I'm gonna try the knife, and dude, I killed one of the enemies in like 2 stabs, and I'm like,
Oh wow.
oh man, it's just, and I always used to brag to my friend because one time we were gonna play it Resident Evil because I told him how I used to kill the HKs on Resident Evil, the original one with a knife. I killed him with a knife. He's like, no, you couldn't. And I was like, yeah, man. I was like, I used to knife him all the time. And now he's fine. He's like, maybe you are good with the knife, man. So I got some props on that. So I was like, I played that. And then I will say, too, kind of speaking of gore, as we were talking earlier in movies and watching things for a second time, there's 2 movies. I might have mentioned one before, the Banana Splits, that came out a while ago.
Oh yeah.
It was based on an old 70s show. It's pretty much, from what I understand, it was a Five Nights at Freddy's script,
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't get the rights, so they bought the rights to this old 70s. It was like some Sid and Marty Krofft crap with people in costumes walking around, and they bought the rights to that and turned it into this horror movie. I watched it and I had a great time. I was like, had good gore, guts and stuff hanging out. I was like, man, it's really good. And then you had the Willy's Wonderland come out with Nicolas Cage, which
Oh
got a lot of
yeah.
hype.
Yeah, I still need to
Got a
see that.
got a lot of hype. I watched it, and it was I was pretty excited about it. Watched it, and I thought it was, oh, I don't know. It's like it was okay. I was like, I think I like the Banana Splits like better. So we were talking about watching it again, and we popped it in. Banana Splits, man. We watched it the second time, and me and my wife, we both agreed. We were like, we liked it just as much, if not better, than we did the first time.
Yeah, I
And it's one, like I
remember.
said, it's an oddball movie that didn't get a whole lot of hype. It's pretty cheap. I mean, it's just it makes me think of like 1995 movies. Like it could
Oh
take place
wow.
back then, because to me, that horror, some people hate it, but a lot of it, to me, it kind of goes to the 80s, the early 90s, where it was fun. Like sometimes I don't want to watch. I love horror movies, but I don't want to watch a depressing horror movie because I'm just depressed enough. Like
Yeah.
I just don't need to see some horrible stuff. But I like seeing horrible people getting killed sometimes, and the Banana Splits gives you that. Like it's all about the awful people just getting their just dessert. And it's just, to me, like, it's just a very fun movie. And like I said, it all stems from the Five Nights at Freddy, which stems from Showbiz, which all the kids that play Five Nights at Freddy have probably don't even know what it is. And speaking of that, Showbiz, pretty creepy, actually, when you think about it. Going back,
Yeah, for me, let's see, I played Pokemon Snap.
how is that one? Is it a
It's
remake or is it a new one? Or?
it's a new one. It takes place in a different region, and it's fun. I haven't played any more of it. It's like I bought it like the weekend it came out, and I played it like that weekend. I sat it down. And I haven't picked it back up yet, but it's fun. I don't know if it's like $60 fun, but it is fun. I do enjoy it. I've been playing that. Also, Resident Evil Village. I need to play some more of that. That's been a really good game. I That's been pretty much it. I mean, I did go back and play some. I played some Tekken. I played some
Tekken 1?
I played Tekken 3 and Tekken 7.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, Tekken 1's kind of rough now. Tekken 3 you could still go back to. It's fine.
Yeah, well, I was like, me and my girlfriend were talking, and we were talking about fighting games, and she, she's not a huge gamer, but there's like certain games that she really enjoys, and Tekken was like a series that she really likes. So
I love Tekken, man. Just I love it. Was something about to me, it had a little bit more realism with the right left punch and kick.
Yeah,
I thought was so cool, which nobody else, that I know of, especially in that 3D fighting genre, has done. I mean, they all do their own thing, but no one has had that left and right punch and kick, and it just gives
like
you
we were
different.
Yeah, we were talking about it, and we were talking about it, and I was like, man, I want to play some Tekken. So I started playing Tekken 3 on the Pi, and it was funny because we were talking about our favorite characters, and we both have like the same main character. Because she was like, yeah, I like to play as Yoshimitsu, and I'm like, get out. I'm like, that's who I like to play as is Yoshimitsu. Like, we both like Yoshimitsu a lot. So
Yoshimitsu.
Yeah, we were talking about that, and I was like, "Yeah, I like Yoshimitsu, or I like King." And at first she was like, "I can't remember who King is." So I showed her. We were like texting each other, so I sent her a picture of King from Tekken. She's like, "Oh, the leopard head." I'm like, "Yes." But we were talking about that, and then when she came over, I was like, "Have you seen Tekken 7?" Because like I said, she doesn't play that many games. She's like, no. And I'm like, oh, let me show you Tekken 7. So I showed her Tekken 7 on the PS4, and we played a couple of matches, like passing the controller around. That was
yeah. I'm a the hell Kazuma. I was gonna call him Kiryu. I don't know what maybe his name is fucking Kiryu. Whatever, the whole Kazuma clan. I like Hitachi. Well, I had a friend who always called him Hitachi, so I still call him Heihachi. I like Heihachi and Kazuma, Jin, and all those ones in the family. And you're right with King too. Like, a buddy of mine started showing me, some moves way back in the day, because he could destroy. Like, if you know how to use King, he's great, man. He's so fun with all the linking moves. It can be very complicated and convoluted, but something with the Kazumas was just I like that. Usually I'll go with the karate guy, because I used to, do karate when I was younger. So that's the one like I'll typically lean towards, and they always seem to have more just that kind of karate style. So it's like I'll usually go with them. But that's funny to think Tekken 3 was on PS1. Like, and that's still
it still looks good.
It's still a good, it's still a really good game. Like I said, it's funny to go back to 1 or 2. Like, I don't really recommend it. I mean, it's kind of kind of a true. I do love that baseball field stage, though. That one was a favorite. I liked fighting on that. But you can go back to 3, no problem. And it's still a smooth game.
They still need to. They just need to make another Fighting Vipers.
Oh yeah,
dude! If we had a new Fighting Vipers, holy shit!
Just mix it in. They should do like a big combo of Virtua Fighter and them, and just throw all the, like, they kind of had the Fighters Mega Mix thing back in the day. They should do a new one like that. Maybe some options with the cages and everything. That would be really cool.
That would be nice. Well, I think this is going to conclude another episode of XS Gaming Podcast, and we'll definitely be back a lot sooner, guys. I'm hoping we at least squeeze in another episode before E3, and then we'll be talking about E3 and all that stuff. And I'm hoping E3 is really good, because I mean, we need some good video game news for sure. But if you guys enjoyed listening to the show, if you can also check us out on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher. Leave us a review. It really helps have folks find us more with the reviews, so that really helps the show. And if you enjoy the episodes and you want to listen to some archived episodes, you can go to my YouTube channel at youtube.com/XanderSkullion to listen to some archived episodes, and also check out some of my content as well. I've been uploading some content here and there. But anyway, guys, as always, thanks for listening, and as always, happy gaming.
And I'll give a final shout out to my boy Shaw on the Break the Apocalypse podcast. And he's also got a page on Facebook, Planet Mondo, and a YouTube channel with the same name. That's a horror-based channel. And he's going to be doing a podcast soon, which I should be doing some segments on there with him. So I give a shout out to him. Like I said, check out Planet Mondo, Break the Apocalypse. Another awesome dude like I've met, through podcasts. It's been nothing but fucking cool. But other than that, I hope you guys can find some gas if you need it. And like I said, we will see you sooner than later, hopefully. And I hope you all have a pleasant evening, everybody.